Right.
Hello,
Good
everybody.
evening. Yes, first of 2 videos coming up from us. And this is a response to Jonas's 1,000 subscriber thread where you are encouraged to show your rarest records. This is going to be quite quick because we've got a 4-hour listening session coming up.
We've got to squeeze in.
And another video. So
Yeah.
do you want to kick off with something, John?
Yeah, I'm going to start off with I think it's my rarest record, which is Don Pullen and Milford Graves live in concert at Yale University, which was put out on by Milford Graves, I think, on his SRP Records label. It's very few copies were pressed. Improvised music. Don Pullen, fantastic piano player. Milford Graves, brilliant percussionist who's still making records now. Actually, in fact, he's been making stuff recently with Bill Laswell, Evan Parker, and other people. Mentioned in a legendary article in the Grand Royal magazine, which was the Beastie Boys magazine, by Thurston Moore, where he said this was one of the rarest records he'd ever seen. And I was lucky enough to get a copy. In fact, lucky somebody actually gave it to me, which was even more.
Yes.
So, private press business.
Well, interestingly enough, I've got 5 records, and 3 of them have also been given to me.
That's pretty good.
That's weird. So I just looked up on Discogs, where pretty much all my records are, and looked at what were the most expensive records, or the records that have gone for the most money. And I think this is my top of my range. It's a mono version of the Blackfire Andrew Hill record, which was, I think, his second album on Blue Note.
First.
Oh,
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, John. It's the second, which is supposed to be better. Joe Henderson, Richard Davis, Roy Haynes. Amazing combination. I'm actually going to play a track from this later on in the session.
Fantastic record.
So yeah, I think this maybe an original Blue Note. That's what it is. I don't know why it's.
It looks like, might be original Blue Note.
I think it is.
No, I don't think it is. It's tooth. Maybe. I
Well,
don't know.
no, but this was my dad's friend's.
Oh, yeah, so it probably is the original Blue Note.
Yeah,
Yeah. Looks immaculate.
it does. It's absolutely perfect. Isn't it? There you go.
Good stuff. My next one, and I have cheated a bit because I could have probably made all of my 5 records on this German label, Free Music Production, which was a record label that ran for up until the late 90s, I think it was. The last thing they did was do a whole set of Cecil Taylor records. Set up by Jost Gabers in Germany, and I went out and covered one of their festivals, first bit of music writing I ever did. And this is a 3-record set by Peter Brotzmann, Fred Van Hove. Peter Brotzmann's a saxophone player who's still working today. Fred Van Hove's a pianist. Han Bennick, the famous improvising Dutch drummer, and Albert Mangelsdorff on trombone. And it's a 3-record set. They were also released as individual records, and this also has an amazing kind of poster, which I used to have on my wall actually, so it's a bit kind of yellowed now as well, which is inside. And the poster was designed by Nan June Paik, who's a very famous artist as well.
Is that what it does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not a graphic store, no,
It's not a
just
graphic
scribble.
store, it's just a scribble.
So yeah, so a lot of the records I've got on F&P all seem to be very rare now. This particular set was a limited edition, numbered. I got an unnumbered one, but I actually got it given to me by FMP. So I don't know whether that makes it more or less valuable.
John, I think you're going to be winning the Rare Record Trophy Cup in the VC. I might be awarding it to you at the end of this video. Another jazz record from me.
Great jazz record.
And great jazz record. This is Everybody Digs Bill Evans on Riverside, featuring the Bill Evans Trio. Has that beautiful piece on it. Yeah, I think it must be another original press.
Yeah.
I'm just going to have a quick check. Again, gifted to me. Another mono. Not very exciting looking to sleeve. But again, basically my dad had a friend, another photographer, who was a massive jazz fan. And when he died, his daughter kind of gave me a list of records just to choose from. And
all of them absolutely immaculate.
yeah, all of them. I mean, they had been played, but I think he really took a lot of care of the records. So incredible.
Right. Next up from me, we have, I think I've showed this actually when I did a solo video of years and years ago, but this is the first AMM music record. AMM, which is improvising group with Lou Gare, who we have a story about.
Yes.
Cornelius Cardew, Eddie Prevost, Keith Rowe and Lawrence Schaff. And this was on Elektra Records. Very unusual choice for Elektra to put this out. And it has two long pieces on it. The record's rare, but this one's very rare, but it's a mono copy. And there weren't that many mono copies around, actually. To be honest, the stereo copy sounds better, but the mono copy seems to be a lot rarer. This has been reissued, I think, a few times recently, but this is an original Elektra pressing from 1969, I think it is, or 1970 or something like that. Yeah.
Well, the Lou Gare story was that I had a jam session with him in 2013, because I think he's died now.
Also, because he appeared in your kitchen with...
Oh, that story.
With my ex-girlfriend.
That's true.
Walked in on him naked, not realising he was there.
He wasn't naked.
No, he didn't. My girlfriend was naked.
That's
he was
right.
naked.
No.
He was sitting there with Dave Sawyer.
Indeed.
And you had a jam session with Lou Gare.
I did in Exeter,
Yeah,
2013.
interesting.
Yeah. Also with Dave Sawyer.
Yeah.
This is a 12-inch single. Again, another gift. This is gifted by Rick, who used to be my next door neighbour. He was a fireman and he was a big jazz funk fan. And this is Clyde, Alexander and Sanction on the Heavenly Star Records. It's like a sort of classic disco boogie track. Yeah, it goes for about 250 quid apparently. So there you go.
Amazing. Next up, I have another famous European improvised music label was ICP, Instant Composers Pool, and this was a set of 6 flexi discs, which feature the music of Han Benink and Misha Mengelberg, and the 6 discs are all kind of individually designed and have a story on the back which runs through all of them as well. And somebody translated this story for me. Music, classic improvising duo, Misha Mengelberg and Han Benink. Yet again, I could probably have pulled out 5 ICP records. So this was a set, and it came out. What made this even weirder was that there was another. They also put on another record with the same number, which is ICP 13, which is a completely different record. It's actually a normal 12-inch vinyl, but these are 6 flexi discs on ICP records.
Very rare. Extremely
rare. And all the stuff on the front was actually drawn by Han Benink, I think, as well. There's a little Dutch flag and all kinds of stuff on the front of it.
I had to say that John actually had to drive up with an armed guard.
That's right.
Because of the rarity of his records this session. Right, another one from me, really strange cover. A band called Koosh, who I think were a jazz funk band with certainly with an African singer. They released, as far as I can make out, only a couple of 12 inches, but they're incredibly rare. Produced by Mo Ahijo, and yeah, it's just kind of classic UK jazz funk. Sounds great, but again, over £200 for a 12-inch.
Fantastic.
Yeah, there we go.
Well, my last one, and this will probably get the video taken down actually, because you know how these algorithms are. It's just a copy of Electric Ladylands, but for some reason I can't actually remember why this version's particularly. I think it's because the labels have got a white tint on them or something like that. But for some reason it always appears in my top 4 or 5 most valuable Discogs records. Actually, I just bought this when it came out from my local kind of Woolworths, I think, actually store. So it's actually, of course, classic record, but.
And my final record is just a version of In the Wake of Poseidon by King Crimson. Again, I just think it's an original press, so that must be the reason it's worth a bit of cash. Nice gatefold.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people know this record very well.
I think so.
And and just to sort of say congratulations to Jonas.
Yeah, absolutely.
His channel is called Sublimedia or Sublimedia. And he certainly has been in the VC longer than we have, and is a great enthusiastic sharer of music, particularly Swedish jazz and prog. but all kinds. Anyway, congrats, Jonas.
Yeah, congratulations.
And we'll see anybody a bit later on after we've had our session. See you later.
See you later.